This morning on the Cowboys Report, it's all about contracts. And we've got a lot to talk about. But before we dive into DaRon Bland or any other names, we have to start with Micah Parsons because his situation is far more urgent. Micah recently spoke to the media during a ceremony at his high school where his jersey was being retired. Amidst the celebration, naturally questions came up about training camp and where things stand with his looming contract extension. Right now, all signs still point to Micah reporting to camp when the Cowboys officially get underway. The report date is July 20, with the first real practice set for July 22. But the mystery remains, how involved will he actually be once he's there? Will he be a full participant? Will he be limited in any way? Or will he stand off to the side while contract negotiations drag on? That's the question hovering over all of this. Micah, for his part, remains calm and confident. He told reporters he's not fazed by anything, that he's simply trying to do things the right way. He said he's just letting the cards fall where they may. And while he didn't directly say he's frustrated, you can read between the lines, this is a guy who knows he's worth a record-setting deal. Everyone involved knows it. The Cowboys know it. His agent knows it. Micah himself knows it. So the question becomes, if everyone knows what it's going to cost, why hasn't it happened yet? It's not a mystery deal. This isn't some complex puzzle that needs solving. This is a franchise cornerstone, a generational edge rusher, a potential Hall of Famer still on the rise, and the Cowboys are letting this drag on. It's frustrating. It's unnecessary. And it's a distraction that doesn't need to exist. We even set up a little Micah decision pool for fun, a fan-driven guessing game where people try to predict when Micah finally signs. Or in some wild alternate reality, when he might be traded, but let's be honest, that's not happening. Fans are already tossing in their $5 to get in on it. The pot keeps growing because nobody knows the date, and that's the problem. This deal should be done already. When Micah spoke, he talked like a veteran, calm, poised, mature beyond his years. He acknowledged the reality that things play out how they're meant to. But don't be fooled. Beneath that Zen-like response is a young superstar who is very aware of how this business works. He knows he's going to reset the market, not match it. Not slightly beat it, reset it. And he's not comparing himself to anyone. Not to Myles Garrett, not to T.J. Watt, not to Aiden Hutchinson. Micah says their deals have nothing to do with his. He sees his value as unique, and he's right. But let's be real here. Every contract sets the stage for the next one. Whether Micah wants to acknowledge it or not, when one elite edge rusher gets paid, it impacts the whole market. That's how these negotiations work. Still, Micah is confident. He said again that he's trying to do things the right way. That he's not trying to force anything or rattle cages. But even in those calm words, you could feel the weight of it all. He knows the numbers. He knows what's at stake. And so does everyone else. Now, here's where things get a little inside baseball. Micah started talking about the salary cap, how it went up by 18%, and how top player contracts are often tied to cap percentage, not raw dollar amounts. That sounds like his agent, David Malukita, speaking through him. The truth is, the cap didn't go up 18%, it went up closer to 9%. But the broader point is correct. Each year, the cap increases, and with it, the price for top-tier talent rises too. If Garrett signed a massive deal last year, and the cap went up 9% this year, then Micah's contract should reflect that increase. Which is why this delay makes even less sense for the Cowboys. Every week they wait, Every percentage the cap increases, they're potentially paying more down the line. If you know you're going to give him that money, eventually just do it now. Stop dragging it out. Lock in your superstar and avoid the circus. Because make no mistake, if this goes into camp, it will become a distraction. Micah is saying all the right things. He's winning the public relations battle, no question. And that matters in today's NFL, especially with players who understand their brand. Guys like Joe Burrow and Micah have a strong grasp of how the system works. And when it comes to Micah, the time to pay him was yesterday. Get the deal done. Let's stop talking about whether he's going to practice or not. Let's stop speculating about injury risk or contract holdouts. Let's move on and focus on what matters, winning football games. That brings us to the next big name, DaRon Bland. And things get a bit more complicated here. Just recently, Sauce Gardner signed a massive extension with the Jets, narrowly edging out Derek Stingley's deal at $30.1 million per year. That's a new bar. There's a big gap now between that top tier, the Gardners, and Stingley's, and the next group. J.C. Horn, for instance, is making $25 million. A.J. Terrell is in the low 20s. And right now, Trayvon Diggs isn't even in the top 10 anymore in terms of cornerback salaries. So where does that leave DaRon Bland? Honestly, that's a tough one. Bland is good. Really good. He was probably the best corner on the Cowboys last season. But he's coming off an injury. His production dipped just a bit, and that complicates things. He's not quite on the Gardner or Stingley level, but he's also not in the bottom tier. He's somewhere in that messy middle, the range where it's hard to find a clean combo. And the longer the Cowboys wait, the more expensive this becomes. The franchise tag for a cornerback in 2025 is projected to be $21.76 million. That's the floor now. That's what Bland is probably going to be asking for at minimum if this goes unresolved. So while the Micah deal feels like a no-brainer, Bland's extension isn't as cut and dry. There's more room for debate, more hesitation, more negotiating. And in this case, I'll cut the Cowboys a little slack. I understand why this contract is a little trickier. Still, it doesn't mean they can drag it out forever. Also worth noting, Bland is not represented by Athletes First, unlike Micah Parsons or Tyler Smith. That may help a bit. It might reduce some of the tension that sometimes creeps into these negotiations when past relationships with agents turn sour. But at the end of the day, business is business. The Cowboys have several big contracts coming due soon. Micah Parsons, Tyler Smith, Bland, Jake Ferguson, George Pickens, and even kicker Brandon Aubrey. And while not all of them will be the highest paid at their position, none of these deals will be cheap. The Cowboys will need to make tough choices. Maybe you pay Ferguson and let Pickens walk. Maybe you prioritize Tyler Smith and delay Bland. But if you're smart, if you act quickly and with intent, you can save money by paying now rather than later. The salary cap is only going up. Every delay adds dollars. So as we get ready for training camp, the clock is ticking. Micah's deal needs to get done. Bland's deal is coming. And the Cowboys need to stop playing contract chicken with their future. Sign your stars. Avoid the drama. Build your foundation for a championship run while you still can.